definitely a palette of 2018 that I would recommend anyone and everyone to get. Okay, I just decided I'll do my intro with the vlogging camera, and then I will switch over to my filming camera, which is the bigger camera. So if the quality seems a little down on the first few clips, I apologize. I just want to give you guys a quick overview of my makeup station, my makeup storage, the famous IKEA drawer thing that every single YouTuber has. So this is pretty much the top of my storage where I store all of my makeup, like literally all of my makeup, except brushes. So these are just a few of my favorite perfumes that I'm using right now. This one here is probably my favorite one. I'll definitely recommend this one to anyone that's looking for a new scent. The Gucci Bamboo is really good. The lipsticks on top here is the ColourPop Fall Collection lipsticks, -1 or 2 I think, which is from the Sheila collection. I have my Jaclyn Hill Vault collection right here, which I do use sometimes, but I just never actually used it on camera. If you guys want me to actually use it on camera, let me know, but I made a video why I didn't ever use it on camera. And a random sunglasses here and a shell that my kids got me from the beach a few days ago. So this is pretty much the overview. Excuse any mess you're seeing on either side. So starting at the top, as you can see, everything is labeled accordingly. So if there's anything that you see there right now that you want me to probably do a video on, let me know. I'm just gonna be doing, today's video is just gonna be on this drawer right here, my palettes drawer. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick overview of the palette drawer. This drawer is so freaking packed. This is packed to the brim, like really packed, and it's extremely heavy, and I'm kind of worried it might break one of these days, how heavy it is. But this is what the overview of my palette drawer looks like. If you guys have any request, damn, it's so heavy. If you guys have any requests of any other drawer that you're seeing right now, let me know down in the comment section, and I will definitely do a separate video on that drawer for you guys. So let's head on over to the next clip, which will be with the other camera. So let's pop the drawer open. Yeah, great shot right there. I don't know where I'm gonna put all this stuff when I take it out. I'll probably put it right here. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, I'm missing a palette. Before I open the drawer, I'm going to show you guys one palette that didn't get to make its way into this drawer because it's so packed and the palette itself is so big. So of course my James Charles palette couldn't make it into this drawer because it is so packed, and this palette is so big, so this palette couldn't make it in the drawer. So I just have it hanging on a desk, like right next to this unit right here. And of course my Jaclyn Hill Vault collection, which you guys saw in the intro of this video, which I keep at the top of this storage unit. So now let's go into the drawer itself. I'm just going to be grabbing stuff. I'm not going to be going in any particular order. So the first palette, as you can see, it's the Perception palette from ColourPop times Sheila. Definitely a good palette, a more affordable palette, and a palette that I will definitely recommend anyone to get. The pans are a bit smaller, as you can see, but there's some really good. If there's anything I love about this palette is the transition colors in this palette. So these colors right here, these two colors, these three actually at the bottom right here, are probably my favorite colors in this whole palette, and these browns are not bad at all. So I would definitely recommend it because it's not expensive and it's pretty good quality. Yeah, so this is the Perception palette by Sheila times ColourPop. The only reason I decided to do this video is because I should be moving soon, so this is gonna be a bitch to pack and ship. So the next palette is probably the best palette of 2018 in my opinion. It's very simplistic. The colors in here are very neutral. You can go as neutral as you want. You can go as glammed up as you want. It's definitely a palette of 2018 that I would recommend anyone and everyone to get. I mean, just take a look at that. The reflex on this shadow, like, just insane. These shades in here are so freaking pigmented. Love the tones, the shimmers. There are 4 shimmers. Oh, there's 4 shimmers in the palette. So the 4 at the top is the shimmers and the 4 at the bottom are the mattes. I mean, this is like everybody's colors right here. This is the Alamar palette. The next palette is from Real Her. This is the number 2 Do Your Squats palette. This is what the tones in this palette looks like. I did a review on this palette and I do not recommend this palette to anyone. It is horrible. Just a few shades in this palette are good, but if I was to buy it, I would. If I had the option whether to buy this or not, I'll probably pass on it because not every single shadow in here is good. I would say the majority of it is not good. So this was a BoxyCharm palette. So this is Real Her, the number 2 palette. Do Your Squats. The next palette is another BoxyCharm palette. This one is from Pure Cosmetics. It's called the Midnight Masquerade palette. So basically in this palette you get 4 blushes, 6 shadows, and a little mirror at the top there. I mean, it pretty much looks brand new because I hardly touch it. Actually, honestly, I forgot I had it in here. I'll have to remember to take this out. I'm gonna go in the corner here because I have mostly all my small shadows in there. My shadow palettes. This palette is from Pop Beauty Cosmetics. I actually was gifted this one by a former YouTuber. She doesn't do videos anymore, but we did like a kind of an exchange thing. I think it's an exchange. No. She had a giveaway and I won the giveaway, and this was one of the stuff that was in the giveaway. This is it's not a bad palette. I don't know how much the palette is. I'm pretty sure it's not that expensive though. The next palette, oh my gosh, this palette is the oldest eyeshadow palette I have in my entire collection, and the only reason I've kept it, I mean, I can discard of it. The only reason I kept it is because this is what I felt like I literally started makeup using. This palette right here. This palette is from Victoria's Secret. It's the Bejeweled Eyes. These 2 bottom pans here are actually cream and the rest are shadows. So I guess this was a year when it was trending jewel tones and Victoria's Secret came out with this. It's not bad. As you can see, there's a big dip in a lot of them because I was using it that much. This green is actually a very pretty green. So I doubt whether they have this anymore anyways. The next one is from Stila. I actually got this from that same giveaway I was telling you guys about. It's the Rockin' in Rio palette from Stila. Never used it, but I have it. Yeah, this here I believe is either lipstick or lip gloss or blush, cream blush. I'm not sure. Next palette is one of my favorite, most expensive palette in my entire collection. This is the editorial palette from Viseart. I actually have 3 of these palettes from Viseart. This is the editorial one with all the colors in here. This is the newest one that I have. I love Viseart shadows. They are so professional shadows. I love them. They're not first off the bat pigmented AF, but they are very buildable, and for that I love them, and they blend so beautiful on the eyes. Definitely recommend this. This is like $80 or $85 for one of these. I'm gonna go ahead and show you the other 2 Viseart palettes that I have in here. So the next one is this is the Dark Mattes 04. Oh my god. 04 palette from Viseart. As you can see, I definitely went in on this one. This is probably my favorite one out of all 3 that I have, and the most used one as well. The next Viseart palette is the number 1 Neutral Matte, and I figured why not. I mean, we always wear neutral, right? So this is what it looks like. It have a lot of cool tones in here, but I really like it. Yeah, so this is the 01 Neutral palette from Viseart. I use this orange quite a lot, and these top shades quite a lot as well. And this brown one, I hardly touch these ones because these are more leaning towards a cooler tone, and the gray one I probably use once. But these are good palettes to have. Expensive but good. The next one is the Laura Lee Party Animal palette. This is what it looks like. I know a lot of you already know what this palette looks like. Got this in a boxy charm. The next one is the Wet n Wild All Natural palette. This is actually a good palette. I think I used this like twice. Really, really good. The shadows in here are pretty blendable. Pretty good. I did a look with this palette already on my channel, and I really love how it came out. Very affordable palette, of course. Very good. The next palette is one that I literally never used. Okay, I don't want to say I'm a hoarder, but it's starting to look like I am. This one is from Ace Beauty. I got this in I think January boxy charm. These are what the tones in this palette look like. Very pretty tones. Actually, no, I could have used this for Valentine's Day. Oh well. Can always use this, but like I said, all the palettes are coming out all the palettes that are coming out these days all look the freaking same. The only difference is the packaging. Like, everyone is putting the same colors in their palette. Like, everyone needs to get a little creative. This one is also from Blink. This is also a boxy charm palette that I got. This palette, you guys, this palette is extremely creamy. The shadows in here are freaking gorgeous. These are all shimmer shadows. Love them. They're very, 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 very creamy, and I definitely recommend it. And so small and handy. The next palette is the Naked 2 palette. This is an OG palette right here. This is the basics. This is a small one. I honestly don't like it. Looking at this palette, all I see is gray. It just looks gray as shit, and this does not look good on my skin tone at all. The next palette is from J. Katz. It's a Sparkling Eye Cream palette. I think this was gifted to me as well. I honestly don't like this palette. I feel like the shimmers that you're seeing in here is just like a spray over at the top, but once you get in there, it's just like, that's it, you know. Ugh. I mean, who really puts these in palettes anymore? But I don't honestly, I don't like it, but only because it was gifted to me. That's why I'm keeping it. The next palette is from BoxyCharm as well. This is from the brand Naked Cosmetics. I love this palette. Do you see the tones of these shadows in here? As you can see, I went in on it. Love every single shadow in here. They're all 3 metallic shimmer shadows. Just love this palette a lot. The next palette is from Pulp Fiction. These are like some OG palettes I'm showing you guys here, like OG palettes. You guys remember these palettes? This is from Urban Decay. Use it quite a lot as well, as you can see, especially this brown. I went in on this one. The next palette is actually, these are the custom made palettes. This is actually a highlighter from Anastasia. This one is in the shade Mimosa. So I just put it in there, and 4 shadows from Makeup Geek. And this is, I believe, is Z palette is from Makeup Geek as well. Okay, we're getting down. This next palette is one of my most recent palettes. This one is from Desi times Katie collection with Dose of Colors. You guys know what this looks like. So looking at it here, it looks blue, and when I turn it, it's looking purple. That's pretty cool. I really like this palette, especially the transition colors in here. Really good transition colors. This is actually not a palette. This is, I mentioned this already. I was looking for this. Okay, the next palette is the Tartlet palette from Tartlet in Bloom. You guys know how much I talked about this. I really love this palette. The tones in here are beautiful. As you can see, I went in on it until I found something else probably, and I stopped using it, but this is a great freaking palette. I love it. Definitely recommend it as well. The next palette is from BoxyCharm. Again, it's from Winky Lux Kitten Palette. Don't know how I feel about this palette. I can't remember if I even mentioned it to you guys or if I don't know. I don't think I use this palette, but this is what it looks like. If I'm running through this, I'm sorry. It's like, as you guys can see, it's a lot of things to go through. I don't want this video to be an hour long. The next palette is from ColourPop. It's the Golden State of Mind eyeshadow palette. This palette is horrible. Like, you want to talk about chalky? This is chalky. This is a chalky ass palette. All the shadows in here are supposed to be like shimmer shadows, but they're just so chalky. Really hard to work with. The next palette is from BoxyCharm. I know, that's why I keep saying BoxyCharm needs to stop sending out palettes. Like, we have enough, stop. This one is the BoxyCharm times Pure Cosmetics. I think I did use this a little bit because all the shadows look very used a little bit. Yeah, I think I use this. This is not bad. Pure Cosmetics, I've noticed Pure Cosmetics shadows and blushes are not bad. So this is not bad. Like the tones, like the two pop of colors in there. Again, same shade range as every other palette. The next palette is the Urban Decay Gwen Stefani palette. This is what it looks like. Very cool tone shadows, so I haven't really touched it much. It's okay if you're a cool tone person, but the only shadow in here that I really like is this brown. Other than that, it's not that appealing. The next palette is from Crown Pro. I believe you got this in BoxyCharm. Again, same tones. Like, where is the creativity these days? Like, every single palette have pretty much the same identical color shadows, but these are pretty colors. Again, like, these are the colors that I like, warmer tone shadows. I don't believe I used this palette. They seem okay. I don't believe I used this palette. But this is from Crown Pro. The next palette is a Huda Beauty palette. This is a Desert Dusk palette. And this is what it looks like. I actually really love this palette. It's not a bad palette at all. This palette, this shade right here, Twilight, is probably my favorite shade in this whole palette. But the whole palette itself, I love it. Definitely would recommend you guys picking it up. The next palette is the Tamana Dress Your Face palette. You guys know this is an OG palette as well from Anastasia. And that's what it looks like. I used this a couple times. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. Next palette is from Juvia's Place. This is the Saharan palette. I used this probably, I don't know, 2 times, 3 times. Their shimmer shadows are pretty pigmented, pretty reflective. I love their shimmer shadows. So this one is probably my favorite. And then Fula at the bottom here is probably my second favorite in this palette. But all the shadows in here are very pigmented, very blendable. This is a pretty good transition color right here. Katsina. Yeah, this is a pretty good transition color. Whoa, that's a lot of palettes. The next palette is from Kim Kardashian and Mario. I almost forgot I had this in here. This is what the palette looks like. I love this palette. Again, same tones. Like, do you guys see a redundant thing going on with the colors in each palette? This blue is not as pigmented as I thought it was going to be, but these browns in here are very beautiful. Love them. Okay, the next palette is the Modern Renaissance, another OG palette from Anastasia. Everyone knows what this palette look like. Again, look at the tones in the palette. Love it. This pink and this one right here in this palette is probably my 2 favorites in this palette. But the browns in here, again, they're all like the same browns that I like. So I gravitated more towards this palette when it first came out. Really love it. The next one is the Norvina palette from Anastasia. I think, yeah, I did film a video using this palette. Love the tones in this palette. But what I did notice in this palette is that the I think, was it Celestial or Wild Child in this palette. It's a very similar color to the favorite shadow in the Desert Dusk palette, the Desert Dusk by Huda. Those two came very close to that shade in that palette that I love. So, but this is a good one. This one's probably my favorite color right here too. Eccentric. The next palette is another Anastasia palette. This one is the Master palette from Mario. Dirty as hell because I've been using it a lot. Really nice shades in here as well. Isabel, Violetta, NYC. Kim is a nice one. Bronx is a nice shade. I don't really like Lulu too much because this leans more to the cool side. But the palette overall is a nice palette. The next palette is a semi sweet chocolate bar palette from Too Faced. Again, the only shade that I like in this palette is probably peanut butter and truffled. Everything else is leaning more towards the cooler side, especially this side right here. This blue is what attracted everyone to this palette, but it's not that great. And if you notice at the top of the shadow, it's looking a little like dried out sort of. It was like that when I first got it. It was very like a hard shadow. I had to kind of like scrape it. But yeah, the only reason I ended up getting this palette in the first place, it was because of the original Too Faced, which everyone loved. That was like the OG palette back in the days, and I really loved that palette, and I figured this one would have been great. And because I kind of wanted to make it like a little collection thing by getting all of the chocolate bars, but when the other ones came out, I was over it. I don't like the Too Faced shadows at all. I don't think they're that great. They're way better shadows that are way cheaper than Too Faced shadows that I would recommend. So I don't really like Too Faced shadows that much. So the next one is the OG, and I still have the sleeve there. I take care of my shit, okay? This is the sleeve still in there. This is the OG chocolate bar palette, everyone's favorite. Every single shade in this palette I freaking love. No complaints at all from me about this palette. This is probably my favorite shade in this palette. This is like the best setting shade, eyebrow shade for my eyes. I really love it. So this is the OG chocolate bar palette. The next one is from Urban Decay. This is another OG one. Man, I have a lot of OG palettes in here, and I don't think I've used them as much as I should. This is the Naked 3, which this one is supposed to be the rose gold tones one. This one is not bad. Again, it's pretty good, but again, from here go all the way back, they're all leaning more like cooler tones, and I noticed that I don't really like cooler tones because they don't look good on my skin tone. So this palette you can basically just get a lot of rosy girly girl looks from. This will definitely not be an everyday palette. So from here come back is probably my favorite shades in this palette. The next palette is from Kat Von D. I did not get on her bandwagon to say get all her palettes. I probably have like 2 palettes in here from her. But this one is what attracted me. I don't know why I don't know why this attracted me. I think it's just this orange shade is what made me get this palette in the first place. Because if you look at the palette, it's pulling a lot of cool tones, especially from this shade all the way back. But it's pretty pigmented. You know, Kat Von D products are known for that, but it's okay. I won't rave too much about it. I probably use this like once or twice. Oh, this is the I don't even know which one is this. I guess you guys can tell from the outside, from the outside, but I really don't know which palette is this. The next palette is the Nude Dude Volume 2 palette from The Balm. Never touched this palette. I am horrible. I never touched this. I believe I had gotten this in a giveaway from those same two from that YouTube friend I was telling you guys about earlier. I think this was one of the other palettes that was in that giveaway box. Never touched it. I'm horrible. really horrible. Is there more here? I'm like feeling. Okay, the next palette is the longest palette I have in my entire collection. I have to like hold it this way for you guys to see it. This is the Metal, and when you turn it this way, it says Matte palette from Kat Von D. This was a holiday palette that came out. The only reason I got it is because it had so many shades in here, and I figured so many shades, so many options, and that's why I got it. This blue is gorgeous. I love this tone of blue. All the top shadows are all shimmers and all the bottom ones are all matte. Synergy is probably my favorite shimmer in this palette, and Tinsel, but this one is a little bit on the chunkier side, but they're pretty good, but I wouldn't run out and get it even if it's still available. This is another Z palette that I made on my own. This was a 4Z palette, and the shadows in here are all from Makeup Geek. The next palette is the My Little Pony collection palette from ColourPop. This palette, I don't know, ColourPop shadows are kind of like hit and miss. I think this is like the first of the eyeshadow palettes that they started coming out with. Maybe their shadows now are good, but the first set of shadows that they started making weren't that great. But this is not bad. This shade, I believe, and this shade is the worst shade in this palette. Like, I use it, I did a tutorial with the palette. Yes, the look came out great because I made it came out great. But in the video, I talked about these two shadows and how bad they were. If you check through my videos, I think I have My Little Pony collection from ColourPop, a review or something like that. But these colors are pretty nice. These are pretty nice tones. It's not bad. It's right up my alley with the warm tones, but these two dark ones are horrible. The next palette is another BoxyCharm palette. This one is the Nightingale Pretty Vulgar eyeshadow palette. This is what this looks like, and as you can see off the bat, this is all cool tones. I do not like this palette at all. I don't like it at all. It's all cool tone shadows. Yeah, as you can see, the plastic is even still on the mirror because I haven't touched it when I got it. But it's a pretty palette, but not my type of shadows. The next palette is another BoxyCharm palette. This one is the Glam Metals from Crown Pro again. Well, these shadows are pretty nice. I think I worked with, yeah, I think these are really good shadows. Everything blended really good. Everything was very pigmented, very good shadows, very affordable. Yeah, definitely would recommend this palette if you're looking for a more affordable palette like this. The next palette is another Z palette. This Z palette, you see there's a heart right here. I think this came in a 1 month BoxyCharm where we got a everyone got a Z palette. So I just put some of my what is it called, Makeup Geek shadows in here. As you can see, I made my own favorite tones shadow palette. This one here, as you can see, I literally hit pan with it. This is Creme Brulee. This is like my perfect transition color shadow right here. Love the tones, love it. This next palette is from Huda Beauty. This is the Electric Obsessions palette. Yes, this whole palette was falling apart on me. This one literally fell on the ground, shattered to pieces, and there was no sealing it. I was trying to put some color in my collection because I noticed I had a lot of neutral tone shadows, so I wanted to get colors, so that's why I ended up getting all these electric looking palettes. A reason why I got the James Charles palette as well was not the best. I think the James Charles palette definitely knocked it out of water with pigmentation, with blendability and everything. This one was not as marketed to be. But this is the Huda Beauty Electric Obsessions palette. The next one is definitely a favorite. Not because I like Jacqueline as a YouTuber, even though she's been really shitty lately with, you know, uploading and shit like that. Look how dirty this palette is. It's like extremely dirty. But this is the Jaclyn Hill times Morphe palette. And this is what the inside of the palette looks like. From here, go all the way up. And these couple browns at the bottom here are my favorite shadows in this palette. I have not dabbed into the colors of these palettes yet. Only because, you know, I wasn't into the colors so much. But, yeah, maybe I will one of these days. This is one of the colors. It's not bad, as you can see. I think the James Charles palette, the shadows, some of the shadows are way better than these. But the browns in here are really, really nice. As you can see, I've been going into the browns, especially these two right here as my transition blend out kind of shades. And I think we're down to the wire, you guys. This is the last palette that has the most dust on it. This is the large or extra large Z palette, filled with all or most of my Makeup Geek shadows. Everyone know Makeup Geek was the brand to get back then, so everyone have a lot of these kind of palettes. And I have the, I believe this is the extra large. I think this is the extra large Z palette. So these are all my Makeup Geek shadows. Well, most of them. I have 2 more Z palettes with Makeup Geek shadows in them, or 3. But this is it. That's it. That is my palette drawer. This drawer feels so light now. It's probably thanking me for taking off all that weight from it. But again, if there's any drawer here, I have single eyeshadows pigmented drawer at the top. The second drawer is my foundation, concealer, primers drawer. Then the third drawer is my bronzers and highlighters drawer. I have a lips drawer, which does not have all my lip products because I have a whole shelf full of lip product. I have my blush, eyeliners, and lip liners drawer. And I have a skincare drawer and removers drawer. But that drawer, all the skincare stuff ended up in the bathroom, so it's pretty much wires in there. The second to last drawer going down, I don't think, is more like hair dye, rollers, like empty containers for traveling, little knickknacks in here. If you guys want to see, let me know. Then I have the hot tools drawer at the bottom. So if there's any drawer that I mentioned that you want me to do a separate video on, let me know, and I will definitely do that. I had fun emptying out this drawer. Oh, I missed a palette. I almost missed a palette. I just noticed this on the table. This is the Mara palette from ColourPop. I actually used this a couple days ago, so that's why it's out there. But this is what it looks like. Love the tones in here, but again, the ColourPop shadows are literally hit and miss. Some are good, some aren't. I wouldn't really recommend this palette to anyone. I had a hard time working with it, but the look came out pretty good. Please leave your feedback down below. Share this video if you liked it. Leave your thumbs up or thumbs down, either one. And subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget that notification bell. Go ahead and hit it. And I will catch you guys